Welcome back to another review, this time for the anime The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadow. We have the synopsis for my anime list. Life hasn't been kind to Xenos. He was born in the slums and his dirt-poor background has denied him almost every opportunity. After an encounter with the healer, he throws himself into studying to become one and finally catches a break when an adventurer invites Xenos into his party. Xenos is thrilled. So thrilled, in fact, that he's willing to put up with his teammates treating him like garbage. They fail to appreciate his talents and ultimately kick him to the curb, claiming he has outlived his usefulness to them. Now bereft of money and out of options, Xenos decides to put his self-taught skills to use elsewhere and opens an underground clinic. Word quickly spreads about the brilliant healer working incredible magic in the city's shadowy underbelly. Even the royal palace is taking notice. Now Annalise has a better picture for, to show stuff. This anime, as the description was, we have our main character, which has the typical, he was in a party, the party just, took him along and they're like, you are useless, we hate you, we always hated you, you were always useless, and they kick him out. I don't know why this is such a popular way to start these stories, especially because why would you take someone with you if he's totally useless? Doesn't really make sense. Sure, it's just a starting point, fine. Now he then comes across our first girl character, which is like a little elf. I do not really remember exactly why, but he more or less takes her in. She's now more or less his assistant. And he decides, hey, fuck this, fuck you all, my old party sucks, you all suck. I'm gonna do my own shit. So he opens an underground clinic and he's like, okay, here's how it works. You come to me, you pay me, I'm healing you. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter you are the big bad. It doesn't matter you are a little girl. You have the money. I'm healing you. Done. Easy. So he opens this clinic in the slums. Now the slums are controlled by 3 factions, and the leader of the 3 factions are in this picture. So we have the leader of like the beast faction, which is this little tiger girl. I don't really remember if it's the tiger or what. We have like the Oni, Olga, one of the two, a faction led by this girl, which, yes, is like, I would have assumed would be like a dark elf, but I believe it's like an Oni. And then we have the lizard faction, which is led by this girl back here. So those 3, they are vying for control of the slums and they fight each other more or less all the time. Now that we have this healer in the slums, naturally, he's healing people, but he's healing everyone. It doesn't matter which faction, whatever. Now, after a little bit here and there, all 3 of them more or less are interested in him. I mean, he's a good healer. So this is our setup for like a harem. You also get the Night Order later on involved. You also have Beskar back here with the turquoise hair or green hair, whatever you want to call it. And that is the setup. Now, it's a little bit fast. It's like the harem typically. I would say at this point it would be like meh. However, I feel like the main character is pretty good. Xenos is a pretty good character. He was in the party. He was willing to put up with a lot of bullshit because they helped him. They brought him out of the, slums. And they gave him more or less a start in life. So he was willing to put up with a lot of bullshit. He got kicked out. He was like, I tried. I'm going to do it my way. And he's not really, he doesn't take bullshit. He's doing his stuff. If there's the people that need healing, he's going to heal them if they pay. Sometimes he can also heal like this. I mean, it's his choice. He's doing whatever he wants to do. And that is pretty refreshing because most of these characters, they are like goody two-shoes, always nice, and if the old party would come back, they would always forgive them and try again just to get backstabbed and stuff like that. Xenos is not like this. Xenos is like, hey, you fucked me over, we are done. It's over. Now the other girls, I mean, they are not spectacular. The elf girl is very Kudere-like. She really likes our guy. The three heads of the different factions, they are all very headstrong. Not really much against them, in my opinion. The best girl, which is the turquoise, she's a little bit in the background. I like her a lot. She's playing around with our main guy Xenos. She has like it's more chemistry back and forth with Xenos. She's making a quip, Xenos is making a quip, you know. They have like some chemistry. I like her a lot. Mostly because she feels the most normal, in my opinion. Not typical anime, even though she is pretty typical anime. Now, this is mostly, you know, what is going on. We get like in situation and stuff happens and stories evolve and he's getting involved with other stuff. Some of them don't make sense. Some of them do. You know, story-like. We can talk about that a little bit after the rating. I would say this one was pretty okay. Animation was okay. Again, I like Xenos. I like our little turquoise girl. The rest of the girls are whatever for me. The setup is just not good, but you know, it's a setup. We can ignore that. Idea is nice. I mean, he's like, hey, you come to me, I hear you. If you pay me, cool. Okay. Pretty nice. You can play around with that. Again, you could maybe like have the big bad come in and he's getting healed because he pays. Stuff like that could be interesting. We also get like a little bit backstory. He got his skills from some kind of mentor, which we don't really get much about who is helping him. We get a little bit background for other stuff that happened in the show. It's fine. It's fine. I would say it's fine. It's not bad. It's not the typical OP, I'm goody two shoes, everyone loves me. It's, again, Xenos pretty much, you know, pulled out a better score for me. So Anilist gave it a 67%. My Animalist is 6.8. I would also say it's a 7 out of 10. You know, like if I had a point scores like the 7.6 or 7.7, it is pretty solid for like the setup, because it's mostly because most of these setups or shows that use the same setup or similar, they are just really meh. And this one is just better than them. So, a 7. Definitely something you could watch, could be enjoyable. The main character has some likable quirks. My best girl has some nice, you know, likable aspects. So yeah, definitely watchable. Now, spoiler-wise, there's not much to go in. Again, spoiler. So best girl is a race. So they go into this house, and this is where they want to make their clinic and more or less live in clinic. And she's there. She's a race. She lived there for like ever. Now our main guy, he's a healer. So his ability would be he can get rid of her if he wanted. But they decided, you know, we can live together. They compromise. And so they are all together in this little live-in hospital. And she's the only one that always comes in and is more or less poking fun at our main character Xenos. Why the other ones, all the other characters are always like, oh, yeah, you're so good and I like you, and, you know, in their own way. And it's like, eh. But then you have her coming in and she's willing to, you know, be a little bit obnoxious, or a little bit, not obnoxious, but she likes to poke him, which is very nice. It gives a little bit of this chemistry. Story-wise, there's one storyline that is a little bit weird. There's like a noble, and that noble has took like I don't know if they were orphans or little kids, I believe orphans from the slum, and imprisons them, I believe for experimentation, maybe selling them, one of the two. Now our three leader, especially I believe the lizard leader, they had like the idea, yeah, he was doing that, but they can't really do much because he's a noble. Now this is where we get introduced to our guard captain, or knight captain, which is a blonde girl. We have like a little kerfuffle. She's very righteous. She's doing like, you know, she's trying to uphold order. She's coming there and is like, someone is controlling all the leader in the slums. This big bad, he's very evil and I need to stop him, which, you know, is our healer. But after, you know, having a little bit of a conversation, she's a little bit more willing to listen. And she then decides to, you know, let's just check the noble house. Why not? I mean, if it turns out to be wrong, fine. Just check for security. If the leaders are right, then we have to do something against the noble. Now she's doing that. She's going into more or less a secret area where all the orphans are imprisoned, and she gets ambushed by the nobleman. Now, okay, already a little bit questionable that she's going alone. She's going to leave her weapons at the entrance because I don't know what the rules are, but seemingly she has to. The nobleman takes the weapon, which means that anyone can use the weapons, which is already questionable, and is more or less he is more or less killing her. He shot her twice and she has like a fatal wound already. And this is then where our main guy comes in with the lizard people, which then is the question, if you can now appear here, why couldn't you do that before? You had all the time in the world. You could have done this the whole time. Just go in, rescue all the orphans, you know, get rid of the nobleman, and just disappear into the slums. Because it felt like the slums were like a little own kingdom, more or less, with their own rules, similar to my history is bad in that aspect, but I believe this was how some slums in quotation were in America. Like, I don't know when exactly, but those areas, as example, I believe to the time of the mafia, where whenever they had like control of like a little, you know, area, it would be like, hey, police, you don't come in here, because if you come in here, we are gonna have a problem. However, we are going to keep our area clean. So if something happens, someone is doing something in our area that is our problem, we are going to solve it. I believe that was the understanding between mafia and police at the time. And I'm assuming this would be the understanding here as well, that, you know, the kingdom, if they come into the slums, they control themselves. They do their own thing. So if they attack the noble, freed all the orphans, and just disappeared again, I assume the kingdom would not have done much, but I don't know. We do have then a second storyline, which I do not have a big problem with. That was fine. We got to see a little bit the difference between our guy's healing magic and normal healing magic, that our guy is broken OP, and their healing magic is like Olympic. But okay. Again, it was pretty okay.